Armchair commanders, we call the shots. From our living room thrones where the action's hot. We're the generals of fiction, the masters of war. In silver screen battles with buttered popcorn. Armchair commanders, armchair commanders. Armchair commanders, armchair commanders.
It's starting to get really intense. I just thought it was a video game.
Yep.
Fuck me.
Anyways, welcome to the Armchair Commanders podcast. My name's John.
And I'm Jack.
And we have a special bonus reel episode today. We're rejoined by friend and guests of the show, Blake. Blake, if you want to say hi and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely, man. It's good to be back. Good to be with y'all again. I'm a teammate and parachutist with the World War II Airborne Demonstration Team. And I've got 20 round canopy static line parachute jumps from the C-47. Got my last 3 jumps, my 20th jump in Normandy this past June. And just love the heck out of getting parachute, man. I'm all about it as much as I can get. So still on the ultimate high return from Normandy. I'm just glad to be back with you guys, getting to visit some.
So
That must have been incredible to be a part of.
Oh man, incredible! There aren't enough words to describe how life-changing that trip was. I mean, to jump 3 times over there and to get to see places like Normandy American Cemetery. I mean, the reverence, that's probably one of the most emotional places I've ever visited. To walk from Omaha Beach up the hill into the German positions and then further uphill to Normandy American Cemetery. And I could talk for a week straight and still have room left over to tell you all about all the experiences. I mean, it was life-changing.
So I know it's going to be a hard one to pick, but I know with how excited you were with going there, what was your number one experience or thing that you got to do when you were there?
Easy. Most incredible moment for me, and there were a ton of them. I mean, some of the most life-changing moments you can imagine, but one of them for me was I kind of spent the entire time over there trying to hunt down the veterans, go find them, get to shake their hands, get to thank them, get to hear some of their stories. And, you know, they're obviously such popular figures over there and so revered that they had a constant, very busy schedule. And so throughout my time over there, it was kind of like I'd catch just the tail end of getting to meet them. You know, and they had 50 of them over there with the Best Defense Foundation. And so no matter where we were going or what we were doing, I would always kind of just catch the tail end of them. And it was on, I believe it was June 8th that we set out for Omaha Beach, the Easy Red sector of Omaha Beach and Normandy American Cemetery. And the plan was, after we visited those 2 places, we would go up to the Overlord Museum, and the veterans would have an opportunity to meet the public up there. And so we went down, started the morning at Omaha Beach, and that was just surreal to see in person. One of the famous photographs, I wish I could show it to you. Obviously, people are listening, but it's one of the 1st Infantry Division moving up that draw there at the Easy Red sector of Omaha Beach, stood in that very spot. And looking out over that beach, it's just surreal to think about what these boys had to do, what they had to cross. It's fields of fire like you can't imagine. We walked from there uphill into the Normandy American Cemetery. And Normandy American Cemetery, you expect the gravity of it to hit you the minute you walk into the cemetery, but it doesn't until you're well out into it. And I'm sure this is deliberate, but when you enter through the Welcoming Center, all the tombstones, the crosses, the names on them are facing the other direction. So once you're about halfway out into the cemetery and you turn around and look back, it's your first time seeing name after name after name after name, over 9,000 names. And it's jaw dropping. I mean, it's the most emotional thing you can experience to realize the sacrifice there. And so I went from that moment, just an emotional roller coaster, just the reverence of being at Normandy American Cemetery, and then the opportunity to go meet some of the living veterans. And we walked, I think, a total of 10 kilometers that day uphill. We didn't drive once that day other than to Omaha Beach and back from Omaha Beach. So we walked up to the Overlord Museum, and they let the public in to come meet the veterans. We got to see them get offloaded off the bus, or the buses. But once we had the opportunity to get into the museum, it was packed. And I maybe got to meet two, although very important, a very important memory and a great chance to get to meet two of them. I got to meet two before they shut everything down. And so I was thinking, oh man, I'm going to be over here for the 80th anniversary and I'm only going to get to meet two, though that's a blessing. And luck would have it, we ended up rendezvousing with the rest of the team and walking downhill back to Omaha Beach. And we all just decided, we'd take our shoes off, or our jump boots off, wade out into the water a little ways and turn around and look up and just be able to see and try to get some perspective of what these guys would have seen 80 years ago. And so we did just that. And while we were out there, this is, 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, all of a sudden Willis Jeeps start coming down that draw that leads down to Omaha Beach. Willis Jeep after Willis Jeep, just dozens upon dozens of them. And one of my buddies mentions, he says, oh yeah, they're doing a Jeep trip down the beach with all 50 veterans, each of them individually in a Willis Jeep. And so biggest blessing of my life was these veterans came down Jeep by Jeep, 50 Willis Jeeps carrying these veterans individually in each one. And they circled up right on Omaha Beach beneath the Normandy American Cemetery and sat there for 2.5, 3 hours. And we got to walk amongst all 50 Jeeps and talk to them. I got to spend 15, 20 minutes a veteran, talking to. I met 30 or 40 of them before they kept moving down the beach with the Jeeps. But so I had thought at the start of that day that I wasn't gonna get to meet them. Ended up having the opportunity to meet 50 of them on Omaha Beach, Easy Red Sector, right below Normandy American Cemetery. And it was one of the most surreal memories of my life. If I went over there and didn't get to jump once, we got to jump 3 times, but if I went over there and didn't get to jump once, that would have been worth it. So that's my favorite memory.
I know while you were over there, you were sending me pictures and whatnot, and, we didn't get to go over there for this event. So I got some serious FOMO when you were sending me those messages, and not to mention my Instagram was just blowing up with because it seemed like every other history content creator was over there for this event. I was like, "Aw, god damn it!"
Right, I hear you, man. That's how I feel about Market Garden right now. A good handful, not as many as went to Normandy, but a good handful of my boys are over there right now, and I'm watching their Instagram reels and stories, and I'm like, damn, I really wish Normandy took every penny, but I wish I had, sold a kidney, robbed a bank, something like that. But man,
we only need one.
Yeah, that's right. You only need one to survive. Yeah, I certainly feel you, man.
I do appreciate it, though, for our listeners. If you go to our Instagram page, you can see from back in June, I posted a picture that Blake took, and it's of our sticker at Pegasus Bridge. So at least we were there in spirit.
Absolutely, man. And I was surely thinking of y'all at Pegasus Bridge. That was one of the highlights of the trip. That's a really incredible place to visit. It to walk there and see in person, what you've looked at photographs all your life and thought about and learned about was incredible. And the actual bridge they have there now that you cross is a modern bridge. The original bridge they've moved to the museum, which is just 200 feet from the actual modernized bridge. But that picture I took was on the original Pegasus Bridge, standing on it.
That's like I said, I really appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to the quote unquote cooking oil you'll be sending us at some point. But
Absolutely, man. I bought that at the Overlord Museum on Omaha Beach. They had a nice selection of Calvados, and I got some myself there.
does it have like a special label or something on it?
Yep. I'll tell you what, the people listening can't see it, but I will show it to you because I got to crack this open anyways and figure out how I can, manage to get this cooking oil to you. Theoretically, what do they say in Minecraft?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Well, I also have y'all an American flag that I took over there. I know we were talking about that, and I took it with me on all 3 jumps. Took it with me to Pegasus Bridge, to Omaha Beach, Normandy American Cemetery, Sainte Marie du Mont on the drop zone.
I find it hilarious because, so literally like the other day I went to UPS because I needed to send my sister her birthday present. And what I did is I got her a poster, and the poster is signed by a bunch of voice actors from her favorite like childhood cartoon.
Oh, cool.
So I take it into UPS, and the person at the counter fucking sees me roll up this poster, put it in a tube, and like tape it shut, write the address on it, and I hand it to them. We're like, "What are you shipping today?" I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like,
Weapons of mass destruction. That's
Right?
what I'm shipping.
if I went to USPS, they wouldn't give a shit what I did. Like, oh, that's fucking fancy.
Yeah, man. So it says Omaha Beach. It has the anniversary logo on there. And it's Calvados. And then I've got your flag boxed up in here and wrote on there where it was jumped and where it was taken. So it's written on the band on it. And then I've got y'all a couple other things that will have to remain a surprise until we get it to you. Can't be giving away all the secrets.
But I suppose we should probably transition into the topic of this week's episode. You mentioned that your team was over in the Netherlands right now, doing jumps for the 80th anniversary. Last week we released our review of The Forgotten Battle with the guys from the Air War podcast, which is loosely adjacent to Market Garden. It's more about seizing Antwerp, which was an ancillary goal of the operation. But this week we're doing episode 4 of Band of Brothers to continue our bonus reel series. Jack, how'd you like this episode?
Sorry, mouthful of Doritos. I like this episode. Groundbreaking, I know. Very,
An astute
very earth-shattering, I know. I did like that part where they were kind of humbled by going into that unassuming little Dutch town and having to retreat after hours of fighting and getting nowhere. Bull got his time to shine.
I do love Bull as a character in this episode. And I also think it is interesting to see, like, this is really one of the few times where we get, like, media portraying America as not the, like, America, fuck yeah, like, we're kicking ass, taking names thing. Like, this is, like you said, Jack, it's a humbling, like, oh, we did do too good on this one. Like, right.
Mission Control, we kind of shit the bed on this one.
So, what was the name of that town?
Eindhoven.
No, Eindhoven was the larger town. The smaller one. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Neunen. Neunen was the name of it. Or something to that extent. I'm probably butchering it. Do you know historically if that was an SS unit or if it was just Wehrmacht?
I think it was SS. And it's something they hit on more in like episode 5 because there's a big part of that episode where they take out like a company of SS.
Right.
But that's the big premise of why Market Garden failed, is because the intel reports was like, oh, these are reserve units and we'll have no issues with them, and it turns out to be 2 SS Panzer divisions.
Right.
Which is kind of a really big fucking oopsie to
Right.
make.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think people historically don't really recognize is it's just like you said, it's kind of always portrayed as we're the winners, we have the upper hand sort of a thing. And jumping back to Normandy for a minute, Grania, which is a small Norman town that we jumped into on D-Day, the 82nd Airborne, a certain unit, misdropped into Grania. And long story short, it was a high point, a high point of terrain that they felt that they could hold. The townspeople decided to help feed them, help house them, try to give them as much aid as possible. And they ended up, I think, on the 10th or 11th of June, coming in contact with an SS unit. And this 82nd unit, 82nd Airborne unit, was they were not frontline infantrymen. It was more of a support type deal. And so when they came in contact with the SS, they just were overrun. A lot of guys left behind, wounded. The SS came in and basically burned, pillaged the whole town, killed the priest in the town, and executed a number of our wounded in some pretty gruesome ways. And so it's one of those things, I think people underestimate the ferocity, the just how determined and fanatical the SS were. So it's cool to see it in that episode, see it shown that way.
That kind of reminds me. Have you ever seen? I forgot what the TV show is, but it's a BBC program. But they're doing this comedy sketch thing, where it's a couple of guys and they're dressed up in SS uniforms and they're talking about like, we're going to win the war. Da, 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 da. And then one guy's like, I just noticed this, but there's an awful lot of skulls on our uniforms. Does that make us the baddies? Like,
there had to have been at least one.
Yep, without a doubt. Yeah, these guys. If you ever get the chance to look up the engagement at Grania and the 82nd's misdrop there's some really interesting videos about it. And getting to jump there was one of the highlights of the trip. We got to do a really nice ceremony at the memorial for the townspeople and for the 82nd airborne soldiers that were lost there, paratroopers that were lost there. And those SS were fanatical. The things that they did to the townspeople of Grania, it's nothing less of an atrocity.
This reminds me of a joke. So I heard Hitler didn't like jazz music. Jesus Christ, it's like the more I learn about the guy, the less I like him.
Well, there was another one I saw that was like, it was this like news headline that was like, great grandnephew of Adolf Hitler is arrested for pedophilia, and then like the top comments like, there's always one person that ruined the family name.
One bad apple.
But I really liked the beginning of this episode though, because it takes place back in rear echelon. They're hanging out at the bar, having a good time, and all that. And we get introduced. The episode is called Replacements, and then it's also where we're introduced to the new people coming into the company, and it's also where we see the start of like understanding how good of a dude Bull is.
Right.
Because before this, I think he really only gets like one or two lines or mentions in the previous 3 episodes. And one of them is, in the first episode where he's like, why does Captain Sobel hate us? It's like, he doesn't hate all of us, he just hates you.
Yep.
But it also is the start, like, even as a kid, when I watched this series, I always hated Cobb. I always just
Cobb's
thought,
a dick.
Yeah, I thought he was a douche nozzle. But I love seeing the scene where Cobb is giving these replacements a bunch of shit where he's like, what are you doing wearing the unit citation? You didn't find Normandy. And then, Bull comes over and is like, well, shit, you didn't make it to the ground either. Like,
yeah, just puts him in his place. And the horse he rode in on, Cobb.
Cobb.
I also like to see that Buck Compton did not take any of Winter's reprimands into consideration from episode 2. And he's telling them, you shouldn't, gamble with the men. What if you win? And then we immediately seeing him playing darts and stealing, like, basically hijacking cigarettes from them.
Right.
I also, this particular episode to me seemed like it had a much faster pace to it. at least in the beginning. Because we see that even with like the preparation for the jump. Because like for episode 1, there's like a huge like build up for them, loading up and whatnot. And this one, it's more kind of like, all right, we're doing this again.
Right.
But I did like the one little detail of the new lieutenant that comes in and he's asking, it's like, hey, when we get over the drop zone and the light turns, tap my leg. And the sergeant's like,
Yeah.
fucking why? Like, you'll be next to it. But it brings up like a really good point about like, because in real life he was colorblind and like tons of people bullshitted their way through medical exams because they didn't want to miss out on the war.
Right.
Like very, reminiscent of like Captain America, if you will.
Right.
We also get a great Sobel moment again. Still,
U.S. Army property.
Still only cares about Army property.
There's something about that that's just so damn funny.
I love the Jack. Have you seen the recent trend, which is people have been making edits or cuts of like episodes of Friends, but it's only Ross.
I have seen the ones where they edit out the laugh track and Ross looks like a fucking psychopath.
So they've bumped it up a notch. So they take out the laugh track, but then they cut entire episodes where it's just him, so he looks like he has a multiple personality disorder.
Oh man, I gotta see that. I haven't seen that yet.
But what did you? I know you're big into the being a parachute nerd, Blake. What did you think? I don't know. It's something I picked up on. But what did you think of the jump scene in this one compared to episode 2?
Yeah, man. The thing that really strikes me, when Bull's helping one of the replacements get kitted up, and I mean, that's the way it really is. Even in a civilian organization like what I'm a part of, again, I'm a civilian, and I don't have any concept of war or war fighting. There's a lot of the same sort of, when you're a student and you come into this organization as kind of a new guy, you're almost like a replacement. There's these guys who have been around here for years, who know the ropes, who've been through everything together, and they're close. And now you somehow got to come in and fit into that. And you kind of come in as an individual, and then you realize, hey, it's a team. It's not about any one guy. It's about the whole team. And you find your place, and people end up respecting you, and you find the people to get around who teach you and show you things. And that's kind of how Bull is in that particular scene, where he's like, ditch Griswold.
Sorry.
Yep, ditch Griswold bag. You don't need your reserve. I'll tell you this much: I experienced a low jump in Normandy, and I'm not going to say before the world how low we jumped, but we jumped low. And we didn't know about it ahead of time. And so I came out of the airplane. It was my first jump over there, over Sainte-Marie Dumont. And the video of it's up on Facebook. It's a GoPro of me jumping. And anyway, came out, 4 seconds, canopy open, beautiful. There's Utah Beach, there's Sainte-Marie Dumont. And I'm like, oh shit, I am low. What altitude they drop us off at. And so I turn and run for the drop zone and end up making it, right into the drop zone. It was a beautiful jump, but it was low. And, I'll put it this way, Market Garden sort of low. So I can understand them saying no need for the reserve, because at those sort of altitudes, that main doesn't open and you won't have time to pull a reserve. So, that's
just there to make you feel good.
So yeah, just to make you feel good. In that moment, for me, theoretically, I'm going to put it that way so I don't ruffle any feathers. But theoretically, probably wouldn't have needed it. If you had to. Theoretically. But yeah, no. So that's a whole new perspective on it, and that's the truth. They really didn't need those reserves at the altitudes they were jumping. It'd be there just as extra weight, one more thing to get off, another connection point, and something in your way. You know, I mean, I still would want to jump with mine for the sake of it. You know, maybe you might be quick to get it out, but you can definitely see why that was a thing. Those low jumps. I can confirm that would have been a thought going through their heads.
I like how we get this jump scene and then we get like a brief moment of them like being all like tactical and sneaky,
Right.
and then that's immediately ruined. Like everybody starts like it's literally just a cut frame of like one flag waving, and then you just see a town like partying.
Right.
And like I love it because like I saw like pictures from the anniversary events this past week over in Holland, and I'm like, damn, it doesn't look any different. Like,
Right. Yeah, man. These European countries, you know, when I was in France, I can't attest to the Netherlands, but you know, some of my teammates could. But France, man, it hasn't changed. Nothing has changed in Normandy. You might find a few modern structures, but it you can easily pick up a photograph from 1944 and hold it up and recognize the buildings in that photograph anywhere you go. And it's so yeah, I imagine it's the same way over there in the Netherlands.
also the big party scene has one of Jack's favorite moments.
Yeah, Perconti getting a face full of Dutch tits.
Yeah.
Truly what the liberation was all about.
No,
That's what you were fighting for.
I will tell you this. I've never been to the Netherlands, but I had a Dutch girlfriend about 6 or 7 years ago. And on her college graduation trip, she flew from the Netherlands over here to come see me for 3 weeks. So I've been in one of those moments, and I can say that very nice, very nice.
So I almost feel like, so this almost sounds like a stereotype, much like the stereotype of the Marines marrying a stripper right after the service, parachutist getting a Dutch girlfriend.
Well, I mean, I guess I fit the stereotype, man. Before I even thought about parachuting.
I haven't had a Dutch girlfriend.
Well, let me tell you this: when you get one, hang on. She was the one who got away.
I don't think his wife would like that, but make sure to remember that, John. Yeah, I brought my girlfriend home for the holidays. My wife doesn't seem to like her, but everyone else did.
She still gives me shit for having an SDSU lady friend at one point.
Oh, what?
Man.
Oh, SDSU is our rival school.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's there's no forgiveness, just death.
Death to Denton. But
That's
we went to the University of South Dakota, and our rival school is South Dakota State.
Gotcha.
And one of our nicknames for South Dakota State was the Great Cow College of the North, because it was the ag school,
Right.
but also because the girls there looked like cows.
yeah, because this was back before. Well, okay, I can't even say this is back before political correctness.
Political correctness. What's that? Never heard of it.
I think it's an STD or something.
I think so. Horrible mental illness.
I think that does kind of, I don't know if it actually leads well into the next point, but it does lead into a point that I wanted to discuss, was the head shaving scene in this, which is also kind of like, it's one of those things that I'm not going to say it's an atrocity in the grand scheme. Like, way worse things obviously happened in World War II, but it's one of those brief glimpses where it's like, even being on the good team, we're seeing the quote unquote good guys doing something shitty to people.
Right.
Which I think is a very important thing, because we can still have our guys be the main heroes. They can be good guys. They can be doing the right thing. But also in this moment, you know, they're kind of just standing by and just watching the local people, you know, traumatize and harass these women. And I guess I don't know what it's like to be in an occupied country, but like, I would have to imagine if you're living in an occupied country under, you know, Nazi Germany, for example, I can't really blame, you know, Sally down the street from doing what she needs to do to make her life easier in those circumstances, you know?
Right, right.
And if that
You
means
know,
like, oh, I'm going to sleep with one of the Germans to get what I need, like, so fucking be it by my mind. But as we see in this particular episode, the other townspeople were not very bueno about it.
Not bueno at all.
oftentimes, from my understanding, I won't really pick one side or another there, but I think a lot of it was how kind of almost like what's the word, double spy, whatever the word is for double agent. There you go. A lot of women were in that situation. They would, it be at the men's expense, find out this information, pass it forward to this guy to get better favor, sort of a thing. And so I'm sure, the traitorous behavior, that had its consequences when the Germans weren't the one, behind the gun anymore. But I'll quote the famous war daddy from Fury and say, ideals are peaceful, but history is violent.
Yeah.
It's good to have
Yeah.
ideals of not hurting someone, but history is incredibly violent when it comes to that.
Oh, yes.
Well, and I mean, it was also kind of powerful because, one of the resistance leaders, he kind of shrugs off. He's like, they're lucky. The dudes are getting shot.
The men are getting shot. That's still, you want equality, go get shot with the rest of the guys, I mean, that's one of those things. That's pretty fair treatment compared to how the male spies got treated. So, some empathy, but not an over amount for that sort of thing. Traitor
just
is a
seems like
traitor.
a real easy place to be like, I heard this about my neighbor, and it's just
Yeah.
like you had a disagreement over your trash cans with them, and
Right.
no validity to it.
Right.
Like I feel like a lot of that was probably happening.
Right.
Well, what was it that Teddy Roosevelt said? Speak softly, but have a big dick.
Something like that.
It kind of relates to the ideals in war and violent nature.
Yep, without a doubt, man. But it was a good glimpse at how violent history can be. Something like that nobody thinks about. The impact on man versus woman. And I don't know too many other movies that hit on that point as well as Band of Brothers did.
Speaking of violence, I gotta say, episode 3 is easily my favorite episode out of this entire series, just because I love the massive counterattack battle that the Germans have at the end of that episode. But this is another great battle episode. We get some more tank on tank action. We also this is the first episode where we're really seeing Germans up close and kind of close quarters fighting. Everything else in this series has been kind of they've kind of been just distant enemies almost. Right. But yeah, this is one where we're actually we're kind of seeing the face of the enemy, if you will.
Right.
That being said, there is some I kind of cringe at some of the moments in it because there's just some over the top kind of acting, when the lieutenant walks out way ahead of the tank column, being the target. Is oh, he's a big target for the sniper, and then Bull dramatically yells out, "Lieutenant!" and then he gets shot. And it's really
Right.
There's I like that moment where they were surveying the town, and the camera almost pans over that Panzer covered in hay, and that guy was like, "Wait a minute, hay bales don't have cannons."
little arrow above his head. Whoop!
I love that the British tanker is I have orders not to unnecessarily destroy civilian property, and then here's the Germans just blowing the fucking town apart.
Almost has something to do with the British stiff upper lip. We have all rules. Gets killed because of said rules.
Yeah. How the rules feeling inside that burning tank? Not so good.
I was a big fan because this episode has a Cromwell in it.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think the only other time I've seen a Cromwell in a war film is literally A Bridge Too Far.
I got the great fortune of getting to see one in person at the Pegasus Bridge Museum. They had one there, and
Is it
that was
static
cool.
or is it run still?
Static. It was static. There might have been one running. There was. Oh man, there! I actually got to see the tank from Fury in Normandy. That very tank that they used for filming. That was surreal. And they had all kinds of tanks, but I never saw a Cromwell running. This one was static.
It made going back to the Normandy thing. I just remember this. I don't know why, just now, but when you were talking about, them driving all the World War II vets in Jeeps, like, individually, did you see the clip? I think it was Andrew Biggio, the author of The Rifle.
Right.
I think it was him who posted a video where there was a Deuce and a Half truck from World War II that was still, like, running and operational, and they just loaded, like, this 98-year-old World War II vet up in it, and they're like, yeah, you can drive it. I was like, no,
yeah.
we're going to lose a vet and a truck. Like,
Oh yeah. Man, I'm telling you, I saw more military vehicles over there from the war than you will ever see in every museum, every motor vehicles association in the whole country. I mean, I probably saw 2,000 or 3,000 just in the time that I was over there. Not to mention all the ones I didn't get to see. Coolest thing, another cool memory from it was we had gone to Utah Beach for the actual morning of June 6th. And that's a whole nother story of what we got to see that morning. But we wanted to take a ride from where they had ceremony that morning down to the Utah Beach Museum. Well, we were going to end up walking the 4 kilometers down to it. An insane walk that would have taken 30, 45 minutes to get down there on the beach. And so there were a bunch of military vehicles on Utah Beach, Willis Jeeps, 1 or 2 Deuce and a Halves, and then some Dodge weapons carriers. And so I'm with my buddy, Max, and so I told him, I said, Max, you speak French, you're a French-speaking Canadian, why don't you translate for me, let's offer one of these Jeep drivers €20 to drive us down to the Utah Beach Museum. It'll save us, 45 minutes. And so up comes this Dodge weapons carrier, and we're thumbing for a ride on Utah Beach, and they stop, and Max walks up and starts speaking French to them. And it's an American couple, and they go, sorry, we don't speak French. And he's like, oh, good, because I'm, Canadian, speak English. And we told them what I just told y'all, and they said, no, you don't owe us anything. Hop in. We're heading that way anyways. And it turns out this couple had flown over, bought this Dodge weapons carrier in England, and then brought it over to Normandy to drive it around for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And then they're going to ship it back home to California where they're from after they're done with the anniversary. And so we got to drive in a Dodge weapons carrier that hadn't left Europe, on June 6th, driving down Utah Beach.
I wish I had that kind of fuck you money.
Yeah, oh, man, me too. Oh, man, me too. I would have some hardware if I did.
I've always wanted to buy one of those, like, abandoned missile silos in the Dakota.
Yes. Make an awesome end of the world base.
Yeah, Doomsday Cult, Armchair Commanders, Armchair Cultists.
Yeah, I shall be your high priest.
I've always joked that if I won the lottery, nobody would know because I would just disappear.
Yeah.
Or that would be their indicator. I have also joked, there's this suburb here in Denver that's called Cherry Hills Village. And it's where all the rich people live. Like that's where
is it Cherry Hills or Cherry Creek?
Cherry Hills Village.
So
it's on the south side of Denver. But that's where Russell Wilson lives, like the quarterback from the Broncos.
Oh,
give
never mind. I confused him with Russell Brand, that scummy Englishman.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if he also hung there. But that being said, I've always dabbled with the idea. I'm like, if I ever won a stupid fuck you amount of money in a lottery or something before I disappear, what I would do is I would buy a mansion or something in that suburb and then turn it into like a sober living home, just as a big like fuck you to the rich people.
Right. Genius.
What?
If I ever won the lottery, there would be sure signs. The airborne demonstration team would have a couple more C-47s, and Frederick Army Airfield would be getting rebuilt. Look like it did in 1942, 43.
I'll buy you guys a glider if I win.
There we go. That's what we need. We need to pull gliders. Yep.
I wonder what the liability looks on that, but
I bet that's quite the hoop jumping to get something like that going. But yeah, man, if I won the lottery, I have often thought about that, how much I would do for that team. I
Jack,
think everybody there.
What's the
thinks
stupid
that.
thing you would do with a lottery?
Man, I need to think about this one.
You're saying you've never.
I fantasized about this plenty.
He's trying to figure out what's socially acceptable to say for
Yeah,
all
right.
listeners to hear.
I would buy community counseling services in Huron and destroy it, and then build another better mental health facility. I would I would pay a bunch of spam services to ruin the life of someone that works there that I really don't like, that shall remain anonymous.
Like, you would buy a robocall center just to harass one person?
And maybe I would hire like a couple mariachi bands to follow her day and night. Maybe some local hoodlums to throw bricks through her windows. Did I
ever tell you about my original idea for proposing to my wife?
Were you going to put the ring in the end of your dick or something?
No.
Right, you were going to pierce your dick with the wedding ring, and she'd have to rip it off to say yes or something.
No, okay, shut up. Anyway, the plan was I was going to propose to her on a trip down to Texas. Like, we had planned like a week-long, trip down there. We were going to hit a football game, this, that, and the other, and we had friends with us. And my original plan, and I don't remember who, but somebody talked me out of it, but I wanted to hire a mariachi band when I was down there. And I wanted them, like, while they're playing, I wanted them to hold a sign that said, "Would you mariachi me?"
Oh, God. Oh, God. the dad humor is that strong.
Somebody's like, "No, that's not a good idea, John."
That would have been great. What are you talking about? Why didn't you take this idea to me? I would have said yes.
Yeah, well, you might have noticed, Jack, I don't come to you for advice.
Yeah, that's right, because I give shit advice.
That's
but hey,
right.
some of it's good, like, the ring on the end of the dick.
I don't think she would have said no to me at mariachi me, but I don't think she would have been impressed.
I thought it would have been funny as fuck.
Should have said, "Ay, que rico, papi."
Kind of moving on. What did you guys think about our like super intense moment with Bull in the barn?
That's one of my favorite scenes out of Band of Brothers.
Man, go ahead.
Intensity. Bull just the killer look in his eyes after he ended that lone crowd.
Remember, there are thousands of different languages on Earth, and you won't know them all, but a knife to the throat is universal.
Yeah.
I speak knife.
I speak the blade.
So
I love that he pulled a plug of tobacco out of his M1.
Yeah. Hiding it in the weapon cleaning compartment. What is that? The cleaning kit? Yeah, cleaning kit. English.
But was Bull the one that when they were writing the book, he was notoriously hard to interview because he would always either give one-word answers or none at all?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
So I watched the interview with the actor who played him. God, what was his name? Michael Cudlitz. He was also in Southlands and quite a few. I think he was also in Walking Dead. But like, it's kind of funny because even in his interview talking about his interactions with Bull, like even he was cryptic about it. And he's like, it was very good. We became friends. And I'm like, really? What? This isn't a fucking secret, dude. Like, just what was it like talking to him? Like,
Probably like pulling teeth.
probably. I think there was a couple of guys that were like that when the actors were originally reaching out to them. They were like super guarded with them, kind of like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Right.
Yeah, some of them didn't exactly have a positive experience in the war, so understandably they tried to put that behind them.
But apparently, yes, like Michael Kudlis or Cudlitz did become friends with Bull Randleman.
What was the guy that just straight up fucking disappeared after the war? Like he was on I think it was either a fishing boat or a research trawler out in the ocean. Storm hit, and then nobody ever heard or saw from him again.
He was the guy that had Hitler's photo album, wasn't it?
No. It was oh my god. Call him Professor. He went to Harvard.
The shit you learn in Harvard.
Yeah, Webster.
It was Webb.
It was Webster. He's the one who went out on the sailboat and disappeared because he was fascinated with sharks.
As you do.
As one does.
Hey, I mean, when the autism strikes you.
Yeah, dude. We've all had the tism drag us to weird places. Some of us get dragged to our death, but still.
For me, it's getting dragged out of an airplane.
But I love
Repeatedly.
I love
willingly.
that barn scene. Like, it's one of the few moments in this series where, like, you take a page out of other filmmaking techniques. So, like, I don't know if you noticed it, but in this scene, there's no music when they're fighting. It is just, like, airplanes flying over, sound in the background, like fire crackling, and all you hear is like woodstock on woodstock colliding with each other.
Right.
And on top of that, you know, we talked about this when we reviewed the first episode, but we're seeing like actual World War II like hand-to-hand combat techniques, like very overdramatic like swings, like very choppy looking. And I like to give credit to the actor who is playing the German in this, because you could like, he does a very good job of playing this role of like someone who's completely unprepared to fight and is like super like, oh my god, and is kind of like he's just trying to stay alive and not necessarily like trying to return kill Bull. And Bull is absolutely 100% devoted to the, like, no, I'm going to fucking end you.
Yeah. Man, yeah, that's something to think about. You know, how many of these kids are just trying to survive?
Yeah.
You know, each side.
Imagine living through a fucking Great Depression and then having to go do this.
Yeah.
Just doesn't end.
Well, I mean, it hit me at Point du Hoc when we went there. Not only the Rangers who had to climb 100 feet sheer vertical cliff to get up to the German position, but to see the shell craters there of the shelling, the naval bombardment and aerial bombardment before the landings, and you're thinking, I mean, I know they were Nazis, I know they were Germans, but you know, still, they're 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, you know, getting the daylight shelled out of them. I mean, they probably bleeding from the ears, can't hear a thing, you know, head ringing. And then you got Rangers scaling that cliff to come kill you. Like, no thanks.
Boy fucking howdy, man.
But at least there's the chance of giant-ass chocolate bars.
Oh, yeah.
Don't those taste really fucking bad, though?
I texted Jack earlier, so I don't know if you recall the scene where they're interacting with a local, and he has a little boy, and he comes out of their, like, air raid shelter. And they offer him this chocolate bar. And I look at it and I'm like, God damn, I know where the fucking American obesity epidemic came from. Because they hand this kid, it's like a 1-inch thick bar of chocolate.
Yep.
From like one of their K rations. I'm like, this is why this happened.
Yep. Yeah, man, I love that scene.
But Jack, I don't know. I imagine they all taste pretty bad at this point.
See, yeah, it was my understanding that those taste bad because the whole point of them, like, is to just fill you up and give you energy. Because, well, C rations not really anybody's first choice. Am I right? I don't know though. I think I've only had like one MRE in my life, and it
Oh,
wasn't
man.
that bad.
MREs are the best. What you talking about?
Yeah, I don't like. It was good, but I don't think I could eat that for every meal for possibly weeks on end, maybe months.
I mean,
You ever watch Steve?
oh yeah,
Steve 1989 MRE.
MRE. Yeah, yeah, man.
Nice. Let's get this out to a
Nice.
tray.
What's the one where he finds meth?
Oh yeah, he had a German ration that had meth in it.
Yeah, man. I mean, modern rations though are living life in luxury compared to the little K rations they had. A little tin with saltines and one little tiny tin of meat or something.
I don't know. I've done a couple of wildland deployments for a wildfire team before, and was not a fan of the MREs.
That's either love them or hate them. It seems like.
I was fine with the chili mac one. That was all right.
Oh, that's the best one.
But any of the like breakfast themed ones, those are awful.
I like the pound cakes they have in them, and the saltine crackers with peanut butter, or the jalapeno spread, or whatever. That stuff's good. The snacks and
My dad, when he was in the military, he always made a point of it whenever he was deployed to, like, my dad was Air Force, so he was always assigned to, like, airfields and whatnot. But, like, when it was Iraq and Afghanistan, like, at the beginning, like, airborne would come in and seize an airfield, and then my dad's unit would be, like, the second unit in, and they would make the airfield operational for everything else to come in. So, you know, just like other frontline troops, they'd just be having, you know, MREs and shit. And he told me he always made a point of it to go over to whatever, like, if there was a French unit in any kind of proximity to them, that he would go to them, because the French rations, like in the early 2000s, came with cognac in it.
oh wow,
As like a morale boosting thing, just like a shot of cognac,
yeah, that's nuts.
or maybe it was brandy. Either way, like,
Apparently, the joke is with our MREs is MRE stands for meals refusing to exit.
Yeah, meals ready to expel.
Yeah, those things will stop you up, man.
I think, sorry to deviate away from the MRE talk. I just thought about this, but you know, kind of to wrap up the discussion on Bowl. Do you guys? There's this channel on YouTube that does the, like, what happened to them after the war. Like, they've done it, like, guy by guy through Easy Company.
Right.
And are either of you familiar with what happened to Bowl, like, near the end of his life?
Yeah, I am real sad what happened to him.
What did happen to him? Because didn't he just...
My understanding.
It legit pissed me off when I saw
Yeah.
it. So, I think I might have sent it to you, Jack. I don't remember. But essentially, he started having issues with his kidneys. And so his doctors basically prescribed, hey, you need to go on dialysis. And he was like 80-something at this point. So chances of him getting kidney replacements was pretty much nil. But that being said, like, you can go on dialysis, and that can... with kidney issues and you're going on dialysis, that has the ability to prolong your life significantly compared to doing nothing. But a common thing for people who are planning on being on dialysis long term is essentially they'll get, like, part of dialysis is like, you know, you're literally cycling your blood out, it gets cleaned by a machine, and then it gets cycled back in. Well, repeat needle use has a way of trashing your veins, so what they'll do is they'll actually, like, implant, like, a port into your arm so that you don't destroy a vein but still are able to access and, like, do the dialysis procedure. So he gets this surgery for it, and being, you know, 80-something years old, he doesn't get released straight to home. He gets released to, like, a nursing home for, like, 2 or 3 weeks to be under observation to make sure he heals right, and then come home. And essentially, the nursing home just didn't pay attention to him. Like, their daily logs were like, yeah, he's fine, And in fact, what actually happened is he got, like, fucking sepsis and got like a MRSA infection and all this shit. And like basically the skin around his port like just disappeared to the point that like
Jesus.
you could see it because it's supposed to be internal. And so like what went from being like an easily treatable infection went to this thing that literally killed him. So like this procedure that should have extended his life for, you know, there's no guarantees, but realistically he could have had a couple more years doing that, like if it was done properly. But it went from being like a couple more years probably to like, congratulations, we just sped up his death. So
fuck me, that is sad.
Yeah. I'm surprised that fucking place didn't get sued into oblivion.
Right?
Should have. Yeah, it should have. Worse than that.
Now, is he the one that had the earth moving business prior?
I believe so. Real shame, man. Real shame.
Yeah.
But I figured I would touch on that so that other people would know the injustice of what happened to him.
Well, that's terrible.
I only found out about it a couple of months, and I was like, it pissed me off to no end.
Yeah, it did me too when I found out about it. I mean, the man survives a world war in some of the harshest combat environments that you could ever imagine. Makes it to old age and dies because of neglect. Yeah, that's take care of the elderly.
Shitty way to go.
Yeah, you take care of the old and elderly long past their service. That's just so wrong.
On that note, what are you drinking, Jack?
So, I was at a wedding this weekend, and the venue we were at expressly forbid outside alcohol. $400 fine. What?
So what kind of shit is that?
I know, right? But expressly forbidden, $400 fine. And
what?
I was the usher for this wedding, so I was part of the bridal party by extension.
Did you
and
tell
he got
him to find this dick? Like,
should have. Anyway, like our bridal party gifts involved each a bottle of liquor. Mine was a bottle of Gentleman Jack. Get it? Because my name's Jack.
Yeah, that's very clever.
So yeah, I just dropped $400 worth of contraband on my lap. That was a cool fucking gift. And kind of related, we also had in our gifts new ties to better match what the bride and groom wanted and blah blah blah. But we also got a pair of new underwear and socks that we were told to change into. So we did. Mine was very comfortable. And the reason being is because for one of the wedding pictures, we all dropped trow and like mooned the camera basically. And
this a straight wedding or what?
Yes, it was a straight wedding. I love that you had to specify that. But
dropping trousers at a wedding.
So yeah, they were like, "Oh, are you sure you want to do this, or why? Or do we have to do this?" And not me. I didn't even hesitate.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I showed that picture to a buddy of mine. He didn't even question it or flinch. He just looked at it and was like, "Oh, that's cool."
See, I was lame. I just got you a fucking pocket knife for being a groomsman.
Yeah, he got me the drop knife. But anyway, I'm also drinking Oktoberfest as well.
Solid choice.
Yeah, a very orange label. And there's a lot of orange in this episode, so there's a parallel.
Blake, what do you have on deck this evening?
Man, I'm simple tonight. Water and sweet tea. Exciting, I know. I have a little bit of Calvados left for myself, and I was thinking about getting into it tonight. But I was like, later on. I drank a good bit of it. I went to the battleship, the USS Alabama, for a couple night event where we stay on the ship, and we enjoyed a little bit of that over that way, and that's some good stuff, man. Y'all are going to enjoy it whenever we get this to you.
I think what we're going to plan on doing is whenever you get it to us, we're just going to save it, because we got ourselves. So, like, long story short, my wife just started her new job, and so I was helping her move into her new office.
Right.
Well, not only was she moving into her new office, but like the entire business was moving into a new office space. So like I got voluntold, like, you're going to help. And so the owner of the business, her husband, was like, okay, I gotta leave, like, after a couple hours. He was like, I'm heading out on my boys' trip. I'm like, boys' trip? What is this boys' trip you speak of? It's like, oh, every year me and my friends all just pick a city and we hang out there for a weekend. And I was like, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
So literally that evening, I texted Jack. I was like, okay, we're 30 plus now. We're going to do fucking yearly boys trip. And so we all submit, like, our friend group, all of us submitted a city to be the city of choice, and we random selected. And next year we're going to go to Atlanta. Well, obviously Atlanta is only like an hour and a half away from Toccoa.
Right.
So we already have it in our itinerary to spend like half a day at Toccoa next year.
There you go, man. Hey, when y'all do go out there, let me know. I'll drive the way up there and come meet y'all in person. Hang out and
Hell yeah.
visit at Toccoa, because that's just, I mean, that's
But I figured
Toccoa.
yeah, it's not a bad drive from Mobile. I wouldn't mind it at all.
But I figure what better place to crack that bottle open and have a drink.
There you go, man.
3 miles up, 3 miles down.
Curry. Yeah, man.
Hi ho, silver.
Whoever gets the short one can run it while everybody else drinks.
I'm telling you what, man. The one thing I wish I had done in Normandy, the one thing I wish I had done, and I came back with a ton of baggage, a ton of bags, got charged a ton. But I wish I had packed a bag full of apple cider, Calvados, and chocolate from Normandy. Those three things are to die for, especially the apple cider. I bought one bottle of that while I was over there, drank it one sitting when I got back, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to take a trip to France just to get this. It was so damn good. So, wish I had some of that right now. I'd be into it for sure.
Well, at the very least, I can give you some Colorado treats. I'm excited for
Heck
you to
yeah.
try. I have the bottle already, but I'm excited for you to try the 10th Mountain
Oh, yeah,
whiskey.
man. Me too.
I know
Definitely.
it's not airborne related, but
No, that's wonderful. I'm grateful for it, man. Can't wait to try it.
which brings me to what I'm drinking this evening. It's not 10th Mountain. It's just Crown and Coke. I'm very, very basic.
That's the go-to right there. Crown's good stuff.
But
Yeah, that ain't bad. I like their bags, if nothing else.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's time we rate this episode. I don't know why we're rating these episodes, because
Yeah, like, what's the point?
I docked episode 3 like half a point, I think, last time, but on a scale of 1 to 5, face full of boobs.
I was gonna propose that if you weren't, so
Yeah.
5 out of 5 tits. Not half tits, nothing. 5 massive Dutch memories just in your face.
Yeah.
Well, then 5 pairs of Dutch memories.
pairs.
Sorry, let me just rephrase that.
Blake,
Five pairs. I agree.
Damn, Skippy.
Absolutely massive.
I'm going to give also this a 5 pairs, except the 5th pair is lopsided. One is significantly bigger than the other.
Oh, what is your problem, you critic?
Just the
Oh,
dramatic Lieutenant! Or they like combat roll into like a stick fence. Like,
Yeah, is that what they teach in the army? Is like how to tactically take down a shitty wooden fence?
well, you could have just kicked it.
Jump and roll.
That's why. That's my beef. Also, when the last time they see Bull before he's found again, they're like, Bull!
Yeah.
Like, God damn it. Like,
Dramatic screaming.
You're the only fair reviewer here. I'm a little bit biased. To me, Band of Brothers is like the holy grail, the visual Bible of Airborne. So,
I'll say this.
And I'm biased because I like tits.
yeah, there you go.
I
Yeah, me
do
too.
not like episode 5. So that is one I'm going to
Shit,
be.
which one is that?
That's the one where Winters keeps having his like flashback to when they wipe out the like SS company.
Yeah.
And I don't like repetitive flashbacks to the same thing.
Oh shit! Yeah, this is I remember the crossroads,
Yep.
where like Winter says that moment where he just comes face to face with that young German soldier, and they have that awkward stare down. Then he shoots him.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that episode, so. But I'm excited for some upcoming episodes that we have for this bonus reel series. I feel confident enough in sharing this, but it sounds like right now, tentatively, we'll have the grandson of Doc Rowe joining us for the review of Bastogne, and Andrew Biggio will be joining us for the episode about Foy. So, but we're still looking for people to review the Last Patrol episode, the Death Camp episode, whatnot. So if you know anybody, feel free to send them our way.
We need to see if I can get y'all one of my teammates. He was class leader through my jump school. I'll see if he's available and interested to come on. He's actually, I think they just returned, as a matter of fact, but he went over and jumped for Market Garden for the 80th anniversary. And then him and a handful of other guys went off from there, went and saw, I believe they went to Auschwitz and saw it. And they went to like the Eagle's Nest and Berchtesgaden. You know, I'm sure I'm butchering that pronunciation, but they took a whole trip. So he's been to one of the camps, and I'm sure he could do a real good job of talking about that. So I'll see if I can get him in touch with you guys.
Sounds like a plan.
You the bomb.
You are the bomb.
Oh, thanks, man.
So, did people start saying that before the .com crash or after?
Oh,
Question.
probably started somewhere around
That's a recent
Nagasaki.
entomology question right there.
That'd be like me calling you the crypto daddy unironically. You're the NFT dude, Blake.
Yeah, the NFT dude. There you go.
Oh Christ!
Speaking of bombs, I kind of wish you were here for our review of Sisu. I don't know if you've listened to that or saw that we did that
I
one.
haven't seen it yet, but
have you seen that movie at all?
I haven't, and I want to.
Oh my god, it is.
It is something.
If Wolfenstein the game was a movie,
Yeah,
that's what
then
Sisu
I'll
is.
like it.
It is just 2 hours of an angry Swedish
Finish.
guy fucking killing Nazis for 2 hours.
Finish.
Perkele. If he's finished. Perkele.
But did you watch John Wick and think, hey, this movie needs to have more Nazis and needs to be about 30% more stupider?
Oh yeah. Without a doubt.
Well, have I got a movie for you?
The thing that killed me was there's a scene where, like, the end scene, they're in the C-47 and they're having this, like, hand-to-hand fight in the cargo bay.
Oh yeah.
But for some reason, the C-47 is adapted to have, like, a nuke on it. Like,
a singular big bomb.
yes.
Like on the underside of it, or
No,
inside?
just like strapped.
With like a lever that's like, haha, trap floor.
Ah,
It was weird too because looking at it, it's like, okay, this is meant for people to jump out of, but then there's in the middle of it just a bomb rigged to be dropped if you pull a thingy on it, and it's just, who designed this?
right.
I'm like, I know they've made alterations to airplanes during the war, but I don't recall this ever happening.
Nah. Nah.
But give that a first. Watch the movie Sisu, and then give our episode a listen. But
I will do it for sure.
it's just 2 hours of the most ridiculous fucking. Imagine, if you will, a guy throwing a landmine like a frisbee into a Nazi's face, and that's that's a good metric. I will send you the preview for this movie.
That's my kind of entertainment right there.
But Blake, if you'd like to tell the people about your social medias, have at it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So I'm on Instagram under Knees to the Breeze, at Knees to the Breeze, just how it sounds. And that's where I just post my experiences with the World War II Airborne Demonstration Team. and try to post pictures and videos. I haven't posted so much lately, just been trying to catch up after Normandy, but I'm about to get back to it and get a lot of the Normandy experience up there. And if anyone's interested in joining the World War II Airborne Demonstration Team, whether you're civilian, prior military, you don't have to have any prior military experience, any prior parachute experience. If you're a civilian, you can come out and jump. It's great camaraderie, great fun, get the chance to jump out of the C-47. And we hold 2 jump schools a year, and anyone can come do it. So you can look up the team on Facebook, World War II Airborne Demonstration Team, or go to the website, WWII ADT.org, and come out and get those knees in the breeze with us.
Not to be confused with the Facebook fan club for Drew Breeze, On Your Knees for Breeze.
Yeah, no. But,
That's fucking clever.
that's
Thank you. I was patting myself on the back when I thought of that.
give you the honorary pat on the back, POB. Good job.
Yep. Thanks,
Good
buddy.
job. Good job.
Another Angry Cops watcher.
Yeah, there we go. Angry Cops.
Good. You have anything?
Who, me?
Yes, you. Is there any other Jack here?
Well, there's Blake. I thought that's who you're talking.
No.
Whatever. Go watch Band of Brothers if for some reason you haven't yet. If you've tuned into 4 episodes of a series you haven't watched yet, then I go fucking watch it.
Yep. Without a doubt.
You pile. But no, that's all I got.
Thank you. If you want additional content from us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, unfortunately TikTok now. If you like the episode, please leave a review. The stars do matter. Blake, thank you again for joining us.
It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely, guys. The pleasure is mine. Thank y'all for having me.
Until next time, I've been John.
And I've been Jack.
We'll catch you all later.
Bye.